Okay, here's a little round about my experience with these two trucks. I got the EXB, Kraton, and the Outcast, both 8S. Right now, both of these trucks have the exact same power system, Max 5 with the 780 Hobby Star, same gearing, 39, 34. Yeah, I managed to pick up another 39 tooth spur somewhere. I have no idea where I got it from, but all I know is that I got the last one. Oh God, Arrma, you and your parts availability is so bad. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about the way these two trucks run. Now, the Outcast is actually more agile, easier to turn. It's a better overall running experience, to say the least. But the Kraton behaves better in the air, and it wheelies easier. Then that's because of the way these two trucks are set up. Now, see, I really didn't like the way the Outcast was set up out the box. I mean, the short wheelbase had an absolute ton of power unloading to the front, to the rear wheels. And yeah, obviously you wonder, okay, unloading to the rear wheels, how the hell is that gonna happen? And it's simple physics. This right now is in the crusher mode, but the stock Outcasts have that little short rear end, and the dog bone in the rear is a hell of a lot shorter than the dog bone in the front. It's like, I want to say, what, like 12 millimeters shorter. Yeah, so obviously more power is going to go to the rear, but that means that in this setup you have a lot more power in the rear, so the rear is pushing the front, so your control sucks. I mean, when the rear is pushing the front, the damn thing wants to drift all the time. I mean, no, forget about it. So that's why I switched over to the crusher. The crusher has both front and rear CVDs the same length, 148. So that makes this truck pretty much dead solid, perfect balance, front to rear, a lot more control in this thing. Mainly because, yeah, this is a Kraton. So the rear dog bone is a absolute, it's so much longer than the front dog bone. So you getting a shit ton of power to the front wheels. I mean, shit ton. You can throw a million weight front and rear. You can throw earplugs. You can throw a locker at the center there, and you'll still have more power going to the front wheels. It is simple physics. Power in these trucks, four-wheel drive trucks, follow the path of least resistance. And least resistance equals length of dog bone, lift of drivetrain components. So the shorter dog bone in the front is going to get more power, period. End of story. Boy. And yeah, you don't want to do lockers in these trucks. You just don't. You really don't. Unless you just want to be constantly replacing shit, because your pins and cups are just gonna break on you so fast. So yeah, rambling on. These two trucks, same power, same system, same gearing, same everything except the length. So in the air, the Kraton wins because it has that front power distribution. And while you're in the air, most of your control, most of your backflipping, most of your everything in the air is pretty much controlled by the spin of the front wheels. Unless you want to do some front flips, and then you have to know how to brake. And yeah, that's when the Outcast wins in any mode. Now, yeah, the Kraton is easier to backflip than the Outcast because of the stupid unloading to the front wheels, no matter what. But if you want an all-around driving experience, I mean, you can put the power down in this truck, the Crusher, not the regular Outcast. The regular Outcast is a pain in the ass. But this one, you can put the power down so hard before it starts to wheelie. And yet, if you want to wheelie, you just pull the stick on back and there you go. Onward and off to infinity. So it has the best of both worlds. You can put the power down on this truck and have it take off and fly, while on this, if you try to put the power down, you have to pretty much gradually do it no matter what, because it's always going to want to wheelie, since the wheels is going to want to carry the damn thing up. While in this one, you pretty much got equal power to the front and rear. That's why the Crush is so awesome. Oh my God, I wonder what do Arrma be thinking every once in a while when they be making their trucks. I mean, they made the regular Outcast 12 millimeters shorter in this one, so you have a shorter dog bone in the rear, so you have more power to the rear. This isn't a damn buggy. Are you joking? This is a big wheeled truck. It needs to either have more power to the front or equal power on all four sides. That power to the rear shit, it makes for such a horrible ass experience. That's why I can't really say that's why I tore it up. I tore it up because I wanted to treat it like an Outcast. And this truck, while it looks like an Outcast, it drives like a big ass wheeled buggy. And big ass wheeled buggies want smaller wheels. So all that damn power that was going to the rear of the damn truck, yeah, it doesn't make for the most optimum experience while trying to control a big heavy 30-pound truck, especially while turning it. The rear end slips from up under you so fast and you lose control of the damn thing, and then it's flipping. It wasn't pretty. That second run I did with this thing, it wrecked so damn hard. Oh my God, okay, just forget about it. It's over. That's ancient history. If you have an Outcast, the best thing you could do to it is put a Crusher chassis on it and get that equidistant drivetrain, and you will have a heck of a lot better experience. Because if you try jumping this Outcast with that short chassis and that shit going on in the rear, the power that's transferring to the rear of the truck will cancel out your air control. Now you are starting to understand how I tore the damn thing up so bad. When your shit is spinning out in the rear, how the hell are you supposed to control the damn thing in the air? Arrma. It doesn't take a... Okay, maybe it does take a mechanical engineer to figure this shit out, because y'all sure can't. Seriously. You jump in the truck and all your... And about 70% of your power is to the freaking rear. You're in the air, you're trying to autocorrect, and all you're getting is the rear of the truck trying to come up, and you do a big old nose plant and starts tearing up stuff. Yeah, your nose planting at this point. It's because instead of the truck coming up, the rear comes up. No front, all rear. Now, that means that under the right conditions, this thing could do an automatic front flip if it catches enough air. But you'll still need to do a little bit of braking to try to get it under control, which is not all that good when you're talking about the car coming up on you. Boy, that's why I keep on saying that the absolute best thing you could do for this truck is to put that crusher chassis on and get that extended rear drive shaft, get that thing equidistant, and then take that thing out and do all the living crazy mess you want to with it, because this thing definitely jumps like a champion. Now, it doesn't jump like an Outcast, mainly because the way the 6S Outcast is, with that shorter drivetrain mess, I mean, it is what it is. But even in that truck, the rear drive shaft is still longer than the front. So you still got that awesome control, just like this thing. But the shorter wheelbase in this one gives it a heck of a lot more agility. Yeah, I kind of screwed that up. But it's more agile than the Kraton. Now, take that for what it's worth. But it is. I mean, when you get to be this heavy, wheelbase counts for a lot. Equidistant drivetrain components is everything. That's why this is more agile than this. Because when you have this speeding around doing this little thing, you still have to contend with the front wheels dipping out, if you want to call it anything, unloading. While in this one, it won't do that, period. Because A and B are the same lengths. A and B in this one are different lengths. So B is going to get more power than A. Physics lesson over. Seriously. And these two trucks, continuing on with the Rant, the way I got these two trucks set up, oh my god, they are so freaking awesome right now. I mean, I really wouldn't want to drive one after the other, especially the Kraton before the Outcast, or vice versa, because they are completely different driving experiences. It takes a serious amount of effort to know how to control this thing in the air, because of the equidistance, because it's not going to be doing all those ridiculous backflips unless you put bigger tires on it. And then, like the trenches, if you put the trenches on this thing, wow, just wow. I mean, the trenches on this thing turns it into a freaking dog. I mean, I love these tires way better than the trenches, because the trenches are so heavy and they're so balanced that they need a truck that has equidistant drivetrain components in order not to be doing all that ridiculous ballooning and shit. Because the trenches on this truck, it turns this thing into an absolute godbeast. I mean, literally. I mean, I like the stock tires on this truck too. I mean, my tires are, for some reason, fairly balanced. They aren't like these things. Mine, well, actually, these are pretty balanced too, except that when I first got the EXB, and I started to play around with it, I was like, yeah, it's unloading a heck of a lot of power to the front. It had the wheels all wobbling and whatnot. But I put those tires on this thing, on the crusher, and it's like, whoa, it wasn't doing any of that. Of course, driving this truck after driving the Kraton, you have to get used to a stable beast, because this is stable. This thing is absolutely rock solid. And the way I got the shocks right off the bat, yeah, my plight with the shocks was another thing. These roving shocks, setting these things up is not that hard, but they do require a bit of tuning. Yeah, right, straight off the bat, if you get the fronts, take off the shocks. No, take off the springs that it came with and put on the Arrma springs. Yeah, these are the Outcast springs. They got them on all four corners, and you can see they've been beat up because the truck is obviously keep constantly moving. But these shocks with the 5000 CST and the Arrma springs, they are so smooth. Oh my god, they feel better, way better than the stock springs. Holy crap. I mean, and I did not put these springs, these shocks on this truck until I played around with the EXB and played around with the EXB and played around with the EXB enough to know what to do. And that's why you see it got those absolutely freaking enormous M8 hem joints on it instead of the things that it came with that I broke. Yeah, I flailed around with the truck and ended up breaking the aluminum rod ends that came with these shocks. So now I got them on all the trucks. Oh boy. Yeah, I don't know. I got a set down there for the X-Max, and the X-Max has the rears along with the MT, and I haven't put those on either truck yet since I've been playing around with these two. But yeah, maybe one day I'll go over the complete plight I done had with these shocks. But yeah, that means I have to go over the mess I had to deal with the X-Max's shock, trying to get that nice plushy mess that the X-Max shock does. But for that one, I used the stock springs that came on the rears, because those rear springs are actually pretty damn good. Unlike the springs that came on this thing, those springs was junk, absolute trash. Just get rid of them and put on the Arrma springs. Now, yeah, I've seen many people already break these rod ends, the aluminum ones. So I'm done with that. I mean, even the other day I was playing around with the Outcast so much that I broke the metal hem. So now I got these chromoly hems on there. Yeah, and I've been tossing it around a little bit more, trying to get a feel for it. Yeah, I gotta remind myself to just not run both of these trucks back to back. Just separated by days. Run this one day and run this one the next day. Because seriously, these two trucks are not the same. They might look the same, but that length will screw you over if you really do think these trucks are the same. Now the setup for the shocks proved everything in a nutshell, because while these two shocks are the same, these are the same woven fronts, I had to limit this one 10 millimeters on the inside so it could fit the front shock tower on the EXB. And this is the regular Kraton 8S front shock tower, while the Outcast have both the front and rear shock towers is the same larger shock tower, while the Kraton only has that one, only has one rear. The Outcast has two rears. Oh god, yeah, Outcast, you're two butts. But as you can see, the Outcast is taller than the Kraton, even with these changes. Boy, and maintaining that geometry even with these shocks, it wasn't that much of a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. I mean, if you want beef, you're gonna have to deal with whatever hand is dealt to you and make up some beef. But another thing is these tires. you know what? I have 2 sets of the RTR copperheads, and I don't even know where they at anymore. I don't even know what car they're on. I don't want to even see them anymore. Because these things, these meats, Arrma. Oh, you know, sometimes, I mean, that in itself is the whole story. I thought these tires was actually pretty freaking awesome when I first saw them, but there's no comparison. Now, if they ever want to give us an EXB Outcast, they're gonna have to buff those up too, just so it can hang with this. Because these tires on this truck is like, it's bliss. It's literal bliss. Now, I went and put these tires back on the Outcast, but I'm not running them. I'll put the trenches back on there. Yeah. Boy. Yeah, and this gearing that I got on both of these trucks, the 39, 34, it's definitely a butter spot. But Outcast, I don't know. I'm probably leaning more of that 1-to-1, because it's definitely harder to control this car in the air. And I keep on saying it, it's harder to control the Outcast in the air. Oh, it's hard even getting that out, because it sounds like total BS. I mean, this is supposed to be an Outcast, so how the hell is it harder to control it in the air? Ugh. Yeah, as you can see, I did it to both sides. Yeah, I did it to both sides on this one too. Maybe those are just sacrificial. But as long as this middle part stays intact, then the bumper is pretty much done. But that means it can't take too much more lateral, or it's just gonna break. But I do have a number of these thanks to Jenny. So, yeah. Or maybe I can just go in and make my own, like I was gonna do in the first place. Boy. Because when this breaks, your skid is next. And the skid means that your bumper is broke. So, might as well go in and replace the spring while you're at it. But man, I wonder what kind of nonsense I have to go through to do that. And I know I'm just rambling on. I'm trying to remember what I want to say about these stupid rigs. But yeah, maybe I am leaning toward the 1-to-1 with this. But yeah, it does sound like BS saying that the 8S Outcast is actually harder to drive in the air than the EXB Kraton, mainly because of that equidistant drivetrain. Boy, that actually threw me for a loop when I first realized that. It really did, but it makes so much damn sense because of the drivetrain, because of the dog bones being equidistant, that it would send equal power to the front and rear wheels. And that's when, like, yeah, it definitely makes sense. And it's kind of sorry because when I drive this truck and don't jump it, it's like, holy shit, this is one of the best driving big ass trucks I have. But as soon as I jump it, it's like nightmare mode. Okay, so if you want to jump a truck, get the EXB and you can go to town. But if you got an Outcast, change that goddamn chassis that it comes with to something a little bit more suitable to run an actual large scale truck. And I know that's the way these two trucks these trucks are designed in general with the you know, the differential, the center gear case, gearbox being planted like right in the middle of the truck, so that a design like this, while ingenious, means that you have to have total control over it. While this one, it's mostly play school when it comes to fifth gear. I mean, it's gonna drive like a Kraton, because the Kraton is more or less that same way, but the longer rear end, and it's gonna drive like that, and it's going to cause a lot of power to want to move to the front, and it does that on the 6S version and all that other nonsense. While this one, this is like perfect grade when it comes to RC. I mean, you have to be good at driving this thing in order to jump it. No novices allowed. That's why you see a whole lot of tour up Outcasts out there. That's why you see a whole lot of people out there wondering why that Outcast is jumped, why they can't drive it, why it's nose heavy and nonsense. It's because the damn thing is throwing all its power to the rear wheels. Okay, so I rambled on, made my point, and it only took 27 minutes. So yeah, I'm just gonna go in and run these things, since it's going to do a whole lot of storming tomorrow. Oh boy, and I better go in and run them and break them, so I'll be able to fix them tomorrow. Hee hee.